Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Welcome to this segment of Khoj Gurbani's a-sabad-a-day. Our recitation is Maj Mahalla Panjwa. Amrit Bani Har Har Teri, Sun Sun Hove Param Gat Meri, Jalan Buji Sital Hoye Manua, Satgur Ka Darsan Paye Jiyo. सूख वया दुख दूर पराना संत रसन हर नाम वखाना जल थल नीर भरे सर सुबर बिरथा कोय न जाए जियो दया धारी तिन सिरजनहारे जी जंत सगले प्रतपारे मेहरबान कृपाल दयाला सगले तृप्ति अगाए जियो वन त्रिन त्रिभुवन की तोन हरिया करनहार खिन भीतर करया गुरमुख नानक तिसै आराधे मन की आस पुजाए जियो. Now in this passage, the Guru is really asking for a mind shift. And he starts off by saying, when I received the teaching of the true enlightener, the darshan, Satguru ka darshan paye jiyo. When I received the teaching of the true enlightener, jalan buji, sital hoye manua, the fire within was quenched, and the mind became tranquil, sital. And then what happened? Amrit Bani Har Har Teri, Sun Sun Hove Param Gat Meri. The life-giving utterance, Amrit Bani, of the Har, of the Self, was heard, and my vices escaped me. Again, Har. The Har, the word Har, has been repeated twice and can stand for the Self, the Creator Self, or also for the quality of Har, which is to remove or to wipe out or to hijack, so to speak, har lena, one's vices. And then what happened? Param gat meri. I found refuge in the exalted state of the Supreme Self. So something's going on here. You receive the teachings, the darshan of the true enlightener. The fire within is quenched, and the mind begins to quieten down. So that's the effect of the Satguru, the effect of quietening the agitations and excitements of the mind. The mind, as you know, otherwise has a natural tendency to be all over the place. So the Guru teaches the mind how to be less reactive by bringing its attention, its focus on Gurbani, to concentrate. He teaches it to concentrate, to focus, which then brings with it a sense of acceptance, cultivation. Because when the mind begins to still, it also at the same time begins to accept things as they are and is less agitated. And so from this stillness, what happens is arises a deeper and more open, non-judgmental but penetrating awareness that sees beyond the surface. This is a state of mindfulness, of being in the present, so to speak. So you're looking beyond the surface of your own ego perception, which is rigid, not open, it's judgmental, and it doesn't penetrate the surface. It is constantly in a mode of subject-object. It immediately creates itself as the center of the universe and the rest of the world as objects. So this is a shift that comes about when we inculcate the teachings of the true enlightener. Once in that state, it becomes possible to hear what is being referred to as Amrit Bani. Amrit Bani Har Har Teri Sun Sun Hoye Paramgat Meri. Sun Sun, hearing. But we will see that this is not ordinary hearing. So Amrit, literally without death or timeless, because death and time have the same connotation in Gurbani. And Bani means utterance or speech or sound. So Amrit Bani would mean an immortal utterance or sound. Amrit is also described as a nectar, an elixir of immortality that is sought even by the gods. It is also used as a generic term for the creator. In Sikhi, you will find it used in various of these nuances, but primarily it is used as eternal wisdom, Shabad. And this Shabad permeates everything as sound, Bani, and that is the basis for all knowledge and all creation. So a mindful state that we are talking about here in this first section of this passage implies a shift from listening with the ears and seeing with the eyes to seeing and hearing with the heart, and that is intuitive awareness. In the second section, the Guru continues, when the enlightener, the Sant, conveys the knowledge of the Har Self, Sant Rasan Har Naam Vakhana, conveying, showing, guiding to that knowledge, Rasan, through speech, through the tongue, Rasna for tongue. The word Sant, of course, comes from Sat, which means true, but refers to a state of mind that is supreme, excellence in mind, and points to the enlightener. Sant Rasan Har Naam Vakhana. When the enlightener, the Sant, conveys the knowledge of the Har Self. Har Naam is the same as Har Self. It's knowledge of the Self. What happens? Sukh Bhaya Dukh Dur Paranna. The discordant mind becomes harmonious. Sukh Bhaya. And then there is an insight that is gained, which is Jal Thal Neer Pare Sar Subhar Birtha Koi Na Jaye Jio. This is the insight. Like water fills all pools to the brim. Neer Pare Sar Subhar. Nothing is without the brimming essence of the self. Birtha Koi Na, without. So when the mind submits to the Gur Enlightener, Amrit Bani, this creative sound as we call it, or the creative principle, comes to permeate the heart. In other words, it becomes the frame through which we see. Seeing with the heart reveals the interconnectedness of everything, of the one Ikonkar in all. We noted in the previous passage, if you recall, that in Sikhi there are only two types of actions. There is ego-dissolving action or ego-sustaining action. And in this passage, we are being told that the outcome of these actions is either harmony, sukh, or a discordance, dukh. And so the reoriented mind, the mind that has come to the enlightener, learns to discriminate between ego-dissolving and ego-sustaining actions. And Gurmat becomes the mind's vision and the fulcrum, and it acts out of a responsibility for the greater good. And in the third section, the Guru talks about the qualities of this self-creator. Daya Tari Tin Sirjanahare. The creator self is meherwan, is kirpal, is dayallah, kind, merciful, compassionate. And it is moved by its compassion, a-sabad-a-day, to sustain all its creatures, ji jant. And then the Guru adds that our thirst is fully slaked, tripat agai. This is a state of being completely in fulfillment. So tripat and trishna, opposite things. In the first section, the Guru spoke about jalan buji. Jalan, fire, the fire of trishna, desires, cravings. So these qualities that are listed here, namely compassion, mercy, sustenance, are to be incorporated within the individual. We have to cultivate these qualities. In practical terms, this means we must be mindful of creating abundance so that the hunger and need of humanity is satisfied. So first, we must embody the spirit and then create a compassionate community. And in the end, again, a re-emphasis. Like rain brings life to the tree, to every blade of grass, so does the doer self, the Har Har, enliven us in an instant. With the guidance of the Guru Enlightener, Nanak seeks that one, Nanak tise aradha, through Guru enlightenment, through Gurmukh. And who is the one who fulfills our longings? Man ki aas pujaye jiyo. So some quick takeaways on this is that with Guru guidance, first of all, you have to learn to look at yourself and the world with a fresh perspective. You have to look beyond the surface of your ego, which, as we have noted, is rigid and conditioned. We have to discover the unity behind the visible diversity, and this is an intuitive awareness. And we shouldn't get the impression that the Guru is speaking simply about it on the individual. The focus is not just on the individual, because if that were the case, then Gurbani would be perpetuating the same haume, the same self-centeredness that Gurbani is actually seeking to cure. 3, Gurmat is all-inclusive for that reason. It's not just centered on the self here. We have to embody the spirit and then be armed with an ecological vision, which is Gurmat. And that vision is that the whole is larger and prior to the parts. And therefore we must begin to think and see from within rather than without. And it follows then that all species are linked in an interlocking chain of intelligence if there is oneness in diversity. This is just a logical conclusion from there. We also notice that Guruji has cited the environment multiple times in this passage. He's talked about trees, water, grass, as sharing the same essence with us, humans. So we must reflect on what that means in terms of our ecological responsibility, our consumption, and our damage of the climate. With those thoughts, until the next time, Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.